Welcome to GoLearningPoint tutorial. So in this session, we'll discuss about the differences we have between primary key and unique key. So while creating a table, we define primary keys for our table, and we can define unique keys as well. So in this session, we'll discuss few of the differences that we have between both keys. So first of all, both primary key and unique key are entity integrity constraint. So those are what when I say integrity, that means uh, the data that we are storing in our database table should be correct and consistent. Okay, so to have that consistency and integrity, we have these tables concept, and we have this table constraint concept actually, where we define a primary key and unique keys. So whenever we're creating a table and we are defining any column as a primary key, that means that will be unique throughout that tables, and that primary key value will be used to identify each of the row in a table. Okay, as it is unique, it also won't allow duplicate values, and also null values will not be inserted into primary key columns. Now, when we say unique key constraints, so whenever I'm defining a unique key on a table, that will also be unique for each of the row, but the difference between primary key and unique key is that you can define a unique key with unique keyword. Primary key will be defined with the primary keyword. The only difference that we have between primary key and unique key is unique key will allow null values as well. Here also you cannot insert duplicate values, but you can insert null values, and you can insert any number of null values because one null is not equal to another null. Okay, so let's check a few of the differences between both the keys. So here are some of the differences that we have between primary key and unique key that we have already discussed. That unique key in a table can be null and at least one, but primary key cannot be null. You cannot insert duplicate values, you cannot insert null values in a primary key. Okay, second thing is there can be only one primary key in a table, but you can define any number of unique keys in a table. Okay, so there can be only one primary key per table in a relation database like MySQL and Oracle, but there can be more than one unique keys per table. Okay, the next thing is primary key can be a combination of unique keys. Okay, so if you have defined unique keys in your table and there are multiple unique keys, the combination of those unique keys can be represented as a primary key. Unique key is created using unique keyword, whereas the primary key is created using primary key keyword. Okay, now many databases engine automatically put cluster index on primary key. So whenever you're defining a key with defining a column with primary key, the cluster index will also be created on that primary key. Okay, so that means we will be having a clustered index on that primary key that will be used for the faster retrieval of data, because based on the sorting mechanism, it will provide the faster retrieval of that index value. Okay, other than the primary key, everything else, whatever the indexes you are using will be non-clustered index. Last thing that you have is primary key. Whenever we're creating a primary key, we create a foreign key relationship between, let's say if you have example employee and department table. So a department table, department ID from department table will be created as a foreign key in employee table. So that we can do with primary key, but not with a unique key. So primary key can be referenced to another table as a foreign key, but unique key cannot be referenced. Okay, so let's check this primary key and unique key difference practically. So this is the example to show the difference between primary key and unique key. So here I have created a table, temp table. Inside this I have created 3 columns: ID, name, and the phone number. Where ID I have defined as a primary key and the phone number I have defined as a unique key. So you just need to mention those keywords, the primary key and unique key, to create primary key and unique key constraint on a table. So once you define a column with primary key, cluster index will also be created on that particular column. And once you define any other constraint on any column, the non-cluster index will be created on that table. So I have created these three columns. Name doesn't have any constraint or indexes. So let's just try to, if you see, I have mentioned 4 statement here. So what I'm doing in first statement is I'm giving the ID value, the name value, and the phone number. So I have provided all the values here. So this insert will not throw any error, and this value will be inserted into that table. So let's just create this table first. Table is created. Now let's try to insert this value. So if you see this, these values are inserted. This value is inserted into that table, right? Because we have provided all the values. Now, in the second example, what I have done, I'm not giving the ID value. As it is defined as a primary key, so it will not allow any duplicate values. It will not allow any null value also. Okay, so let's just try to execute this, and if you see, the Oracle is going to throw error that cannot insert null values into ID column. So if you see cannot insert null into temp table.id. Okay, what I've done in the third example is I have given the ID value as 102, name is there, and null is there. So as you can see that phone number is defined as a unique key constraint, and unique key allows null values. You can insert any number of null values into that unique key column. So let's try to execute this. So this is also inserted. What I have done in the last statement is I am giving the same ID 102 that I have already inserted, same name and the same null value for the phone number. Okay, so unique key allows null values, but unique key will not allow duplicate values. Also here unique key allows null values but cannot allow duplicate values, and also ID will not be duplicated in any of the record. That will be unique for that particular row. Okay, so let's just try to execute this and see what error we would get. So if you see, I have got this unique constraint violated. So this is violated in two columns, in this and the combination of this column will not be a duplicate because of the unique key constraint. So that's why we have got this unique key constraint violated, and it has not mentioned that which particular column is having a problem. Okay, this is for the entire row. Entire row cannot be duplicated because of the primary key and unique key, both the constraints. So these are some differences that you need to keep in mind while using the primary key and unique key constraint in your table. And you can just go through this. I'm going to paste all these things in the video description link so that you can copy it from there, and you can just go through the video description, and you can go through the tutorial also to understand it practically. Thanks for watching my tutorial, and thanks, like, share and subscribe to get more updates.